Here we go.
We
Hi,
are.
everybody. Yes. Hello. Wait.
Do you, do you
So
want
I'm
to?
Jane. And yeah, I'm Jane, and I'm originally from the United States, New York. And I live in Florence, and I work for my English school, Baraka. Excuse me. And I'm here today with my good friend and teacher, Sarah.
Hey, Jane. My name is Sarah. I am not from America, Jane. I'm from the UK. I'm in Nottingham. Nottingham is very famous for Robin Hood and Sherwood Forest, and it's also quite near
Oh,
a
I
city
didn't
called
know that.
Derby. Well, I'm actually from a city called Derby, which is near
Oh,
Nottingham. And Derby is very famous for Rolls. You would have heard of Rolls-Royce, but Rolls-Royce has a factory in Derby. So Derby is famous also for ceramics. And the Queen, back in the, I don't know when, but the Queen uses the ceramics and the things from Derby, and it's called Crown Derby, and it was named because the
oh, I know what it
Queen.
is. Yes,
So
I
there you
know
go.
what the ceramics are. Yes, absolutely. Wonderful ceramics. Oh,
Yeah.
hello, Elisa from Rome. Nice to I'm glad you're here with us today. How are you doing today in Rome? How's the weather? Is it warm in
It's
Rome
nice.
also today?
It's beautiful here at the moment. Beautifully sunny
Oh,
and nice, and we're all staying inside because of a quarantine, which is not so nice. But never mind.
yeah.
Hey ho. But we can look out the window
Hey,
at the sunshine. But,
hey,
hey,
I've got
Lavinia.
Lavinia from Milan. Hi, Lavinia. Glad you could join us today.
Perfect. And so today the focus is all about. Can you read the slide for me, Jane?
Sure, absolutely. Focus activity, multiculturalism.
Yeah, liking the pronunciation because this word, because of the ending with ISM, and in English and in American, the pronunciation is ism. So any word that ends with an ISM, we pronounce ism. Not, I know in Italian sometimes you hear isme and things like that, but no. So for example, Jane, can you pronounce this word for me? I'll show it up on the
Okay,
screen.
sure, absolutely. Tourism, tourism,
Is
tourism.
exactly. So anything with the ISM on the end, you need to be pronouncing it with the ism. Okay, so this is multiculturalism. Okay, glad to see it sunny where you are, Eliza. It's beautiful, isn't it? It's a shame we're not
Uh,
outside, but hey, which is just as good. So let's move on
yeah,
to what we're going to have a
absolutely.
look at today. Jane, can you read for me the next part?
Sure, multiculturalism. In this focus activity, discussing multiculturalism, using phrases for interrupting, using phrases for settling an argument and disagreeing.
Okay, perfect. So multiculturalism we'll come on to in a minute. But in terms of interrupting, Jane, when would you interrupt someone?
Well, maybe if I needed to say something important to them, right?
Okay.
I would interrupt. Somebody's having a conversation and I need to tell someone something because it's important. I might interrupt. I might
Okay.
also interrupt if I don't necessarily agree with what they're saying. Hmm?
Interesting. Yeah, that's very true. Okay. Do you think interrupting is polite or rude?
Well, it really depends. It depends on how you're interrupting and why you're interrupting. If it's something really important that you need to interrupt that person, well, no, it's not. But in
Okay.
some cases, for example, in Italian television, you will see people arguing and they continually interrupt each other. Cara, the dog. Sorry. Sorry, everybody. It's a
The
constant
dog
drama.
is interrupting.
My dog is
It's
rudely interrupting the lesson. For God's sakes.
being rude when
Yeah, she was
he's
being
done it in a
rude.
particular way. Isn't very true. Okay. And what
So,
about settling an argument? Okay. If you settle an argument, what do you do if you settle an argument?
well, you might try to interrupt the two different parties, no? By kind of being diplomatic about the situation, no?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but also an argument for me, settling cannot agree. So I say black, you say white, and you have to settle an argument one way or the other. You have to decide to move forward. Maybe we can't agree,
Right.
but we
Absolutely.
have to settle an argument. So you have to come to some finish of the argument. Otherwise, we argue all the time. If I say black, you say white, black, white, black, white, black, white. It would go on forever. So you have to settle an argument.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Close. Another thing, because this comes up a lot in Italian, in Italy, because of the language. Often, here we go. Argument and topic. What's the difference between argument and topic? Can you hear me?
Can you say yes and no? Can you ask the question again, Sarah?
Yeah, sure. What's the difference between argument and topic?
Well, an argument in English actually has to do with two people that are disagreeing about something, right? We argue about something,
Exactly.
and it means it's not a positive word. We're disagreeing about something, and it could be quite a heated discussion also, an argument. Whereas with a topic, it means some particular thing that we're speaking about. So here we have the way that we use it in Italian is kind of a false friend.
Definitely.
Argument.
So for example, if we think about multiculturalism that we're talking about today, is that an argument or a topic?
It's a topic.
Exactly. Okay. So the confusing thing sometimes, yeah, exactly, is the topic is the general subject of what you're going to discuss. It is exactly as Jane says, usually it's a discussion when two people don't agree.
Absolutely.
Okay. So multiculturalism, the is multiculturalism. And Jane, can you read the next slide for me?
Sure. A multicultural world. Multiculturalism, the policy of maintaining, accepting, or promoting a diversity of ethnic cultures and cultural traditions within a community. First question. Do you think Italy is a multicultural country? Why or why not?
Okay, so we have
I would like everybody at this point to actually, I want everybody to think about this question here. And you can also type in either Elisa, Lavinia. I'd like to hear what you think about that question. Do you think that Italy is a multicultural country? And if you do or you don't, please tell me why. That would be fantastic.
In the meantime, Jane, what about the US? Do you think that America is a multicultural country?
Definitely. I definitely think, but that was the basis of our country. We were all immigrants. So it was kind of the basis of our country was based on multiculturalism. And yeah, absolutely. The US is probably one of the most multicultural places in the world.
Okay. Yeah. So, for example, where you live, where do you live?
Where did I live?
Where did you live in the States? Where are you from?
I'm originally from a small city in upstate New York, Syracuse.
Okay. How multicultural is Syracuse in comparison to, say, New York or Los Angeles? Is it, because America is a very big country, so where is there a particular area which is less multicultural than other areas? Is all of America multicultural, or is it kind of different where you go?
I think it really depends on where you go. I think it depends on, you know, if you're in a place like Los Angeles or New York or any of the big cities, you're going to find it's very multicultural. You'll hear in New York City, you will hear every language spoken in the world on the streets of New York. And whereas if you go into smaller cities, let's say, you might find that it's not as multicultural. So, I mean, yeah, it really does depend on where you are. My city where I grew up in the suburbs. So, no, it's not really that. It wasn't multicultural where I grew up.
Okay, yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? How there's pockets of, it's a multicultural country, but then there are areas which are more multicultural than others. Okay. Let's have a look at some of the responses. So, Lavinia, in my opinion, Italy is a multicultural country, but unfortunately there are too many people who can't accept it. Yeah.
Oh, I like that, Lavinia. Nicely done. I agree. Yeah. There's a lot of problems with the integration of different cultures within the Italian community. I agree with you, Lavinia, on this.
Yeah. And so, Elisa, I think Italy is a multicultural country because we have a lot of diversity cultures, and Italy accepts all people who came from every part of the world. Okay, let's just go through some of the grammar. So I think Italy is a multicultural country, perfect, because we have a lot of diversity cultures. Diversity is the noun, okay? So what you need here is you need an adjective to describe the cultures. So Jane, what would the adjective be?
I think the adjective would be diverse.
Exactly, yeah, so diverse is your adjective. So we would have here diverse. So going back to what Elisa said, so because we have a lot of diverse cultures, and Italy accepts all people. Italy is singular or plural? Exactly. So Italy accepts all people.
That's right.
Who come, because it happens today as well, if we're talking in the present, who come from every part of the world. Yeah, I think that's true. I think there are a lot of different cultures in Italy. But in comparison with America, I would say that America is more multicultural than Italy. I don't know. What do you lived in the US, you've lived in Italy.
I think that Italy is really struggling with this idea of being multicultural. I think that it is. I do think that there are many cultures here in Italy, but I don't know about the integration, because really being multicultural also means in some ways that there's an acceptance of those cultures within the society. So I'm not sure. You know, I don't know if we accept all people. It's a big discussion right now in Italy, and it's a very heated discussion, right? Or argument. It becomes an argument here about the integration of many different cultures into Italian culture.
Yeah, that's very true. Also, though, I think an interesting point, in Italy, the national language is Italian, and in America, the national language is English. And so therefore, if you go to America, you know that everybody will speak English. Here in Italy, the national language is Italian, and for cultures to come from different parts of the world, they have to learn Italian in order to be part of Italian society. In America, everybody already speaks some English. It's considered the language of the world. So I think sometimes multiculturalism is aided by.
I'm not sure about that. I don't know if I agree with that, because my experience is, for example, we have a huge community of people that speak Spanish, and thousands of people, I would say millions of them, do not speak English. And this is something very interesting. So I don't know if I exactly agree with that assessment. And many of them don't speak any English, and they don't need to, because so many people speak Spanish in the United States that they can live within their own community and not ever have to speak English.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting, this, you know.
Okay. Well, let's move on. Okay. I'm going to stop that. Whether we're going to settle the argument here or not, I don't think we are. So let's move on to question number 2. Can you read question number 2 for me?
Sure. Does multiculturalism destroy cultures that already exist, or enhance cultures by creating new traditions? That's very interesting. I like that question.
Okay,
really
so Elisa and Lavinia, can you think about this second question? Jane and I are going to have a little bit of a discussion on this, but in the meantime, can you think about whether it destroys cultures or enhances cultures by creating new traditions? So, for example, Jane, how do you think, if we go back to America, do you think that the multiculturalism has destroyed culture in the US?
No. But you have to understand that our past, our history, was considered, we called it a melting pot, which means really that people from different cultures, we were all thrown into the same pot. And because of that, we took from other cultures, so we mixed and mingled a lot of different traditions, and we kind of created a new tradition. So I think it's a little bit different in the United States. I think that we're a little bit more flexible with accepting different cultures.
It's interesting that you say that, because I was thinking about the UK, because the UK is somewhere where we have we're multicultural, but for a different reason to the reason of the US. So we're multicultural because of the British Empire. If you think back to where we were, we went to India, we went to Australia, we went to Pakistan, we went to China with Hong Kong. We went all over the world, and with that, we kind of embraced all these different cultures. And the British Museum in London is a big celebration of all the different places that we as the British went and discovered and found things. And I think the one good thing about how it enhances the British culture is our food. I know people say that the food is okay, but actually the food is really interesting, because they did a survey, and the most popular food in the UK. So
I was going to say
it's like Indian.
Absolutely.
So, okay, you have your fish and chips, but you have curry. You have a community of Indian people, Pakistan, who've developed this culture. It's in the centre, and in Birmingham, it's like, curry houses are a good curry is something that you find from. And you would say it's a traditionally English thing, even though it's not English. So that's one example of how it enhances culture, especially since the British food is rubbish.
So listen, Lavinia's giving us such great answers. So let's go ahead and take a look at what Lavinia's had to say. Okay.
So I think that every culture, I'll read, don't worry. I think every culture, e.g. habits, language, music, is the product of the history and of foreign dominations. Every culture, old cultures, that's nice. And that's very saying, Jane, about the melting pot of bringing things together and creating something new. Then what
Okay,
else
I want
did
to
she
make,
say?
wait, go back for 1 second, go back. I want to talk about this, the semicolon or the colon. Here, Italians really enjoy using this, the double period or the colon, and we really don't need it there. What we would need is a period, and then we would start a new sentence, right?
Ah, you say a period, you say like a period, you mean a full stop? A full stop?
Yeah, full stop.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think you don't need a colon. A colon doesn't really work there.
Yeah, that's very true. Okay. Yeah. Good point. And let's carry on to see what. Can you read for me, Jane?
For example, Italy was dominated by Spanish in the south and French in the north during its history, and this reflects how also in the language or food. So
Yeah.
Sarah, can we take a look a little bit at the grammar here? Very well said, but we've got a couple of some mistakes that I think we should correct. Okay, so first, what do you see there, Sarah? The first mistake there.
I'm looking.
Well,
From
we need
the
an article.
its history by the Spanish.
The Spanish in the south and the French in the north.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because by Spanish, either by Spanish language, you use it by Spanish, and Spanish would be the language. But if you mean the people, then you have to refer to the Spanish. It's right, the Spanish people, for example. Yeah, that's very true. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the apostrophe.
Mm-hmm. During its is without the apostrophe. Okay. History, and this reflects, and this
reflects now also in the language or food.
Now,
I'm good with that.
In the language or food. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
To this one here. Oh, sorry.
Elisa.
Here we go. Yeah, Elisa, that's the same. In Spain and Portugal with Arabic dominations. Yeah. So, Elisa, can you read for me, Jane?
Sure. The multiculturalism doesn't destroy cultures that already exist. Instead, multiculturalism creates a new traditions to add to the traditions that already exist. Okay, it's fantastic, absolutely fantastic, but we have a couple of things I want you to take a look at here in this. First, the multiculturalism, we don't have to use the article, just the word multiculturalism doesn't destroy cultures that already exist. Instead, multiculturalism, now we need the third person singular on this, creates a creates new traditions, because we've got a plural, right? Traditions is a plural. So creates new traditions that add to the traditions that already exists. Period.
Yeah. You could say it creates new traditions. It's a new tradition, but you can't have a new with plural.
That's right.
Or is it singular? Yeah, good. Yeah, very true. Yeah, it's interesting. I think in the UK, you talk about these are talk about multiculturalism creating new traditions to add that already exist. What's interesting is if you take traditions are not adapted into communities. So, for example, in the UK, we have a lot of people that come from maybe Saudi Arabia or from the UAE, and maybe their tradition faces and together their heads. And this is a tradition that the UK, the British people don't accept that. Food is different. If you like the food, then you can eat the food. But for some of the traditions, maybe like the religion, maybe like the things associated with religion, the typical types of clothes that people wear or
Yes,
things like
this
that,
is true. This
that
is true.
necessarily isn't taken on, and that's usually where maybe the arguments and the problems come, is when new traditions are brought into the country. Actually accept some traditions because they can work alongside traditions that exist. Like food, you can add new food and keep existing food. The problem comes when you bring a new tradition that is contrary to an existing tradition, and the two cannot live together.
I think that happens more with religious traditions. There's a lot of arguments that arise when we're talking about religious traditions. There we do have some problems. We definitely do, because then you start to deal with, rights of women, and there it really becomes a more difficult thing for a country to embrace. No, if you have a country that's extremely liberal and open, let's say an open society, and then you are expected to adhere to traditions which you find very what's the word, Sarah?
It's difficult to say. When they're very different or uncomfortable for you, maybe.
Yeah, that's where there's a real problem with this idea of multiculturalism. Do we accept everything? And as far as religion goes, do we accept all those religious practices? For example, we live in Italy, and it is a Catholic country. So when people from countries that are, let's say, Muslim, come here, and they have women whose faces are completely covered, for us, it's very, very difficult to manage this, to integrate with that type of separation from our own culture. No?
Yeah, no, very true. Okay, let's move to the next part, which is just to look at some language. Okay, so Jane, can you read the categories for me up here?
Settling an argument, and phrases for disagreeing.
Okay, so for the people listening, Elisa and Lavinia, can you think of things that Jane or I could say if we wanted to settle an argument, or if we want to disagree with what the other person says? Okay, so we're looking for different phrases.
I have one. Huh? I have one immediately. I'm thinking of.
Yeah, what's your thinking
of? Let's agree to disagree.
That's, which one is that for? Disagreeing or settling an argument?
No, I think for settling an argument.
Yeah, okay, same one as you. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Let's agree to disagree on this one. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, very good.
That's fantastic, Lavinia. Well done.
Yeah, we certainly use that. Let's agree to disagree. Yeah. Okay. Any other ones for settling an argument?
Maybe, I don't know, maybe, Elisa, is that correct? I not agree with you? So we have the verb agree. So what do we use when we have a verb like that as our main verb? What do we need in order to have a negative in that sentence? We need an auxiliary verb. So I don't agree with you. That's right. I don't agree with you.
It's confusing though, Jane. Because
I know, but here
you know what?
we have the problem where in Italian, it is agree is essere d'accordo, and they use it with a verb to be in Italian. And in English, we do not need the verb to be. So this is the point. I agree, or I don't agree, or I disagree. Those are three ways that we can say the positive and the negative. So there's no verb to be with agree. Agree is a verb on its own.
Yeah. And the is agree with the verb to be is when we're using it as a past participle. So it is not agreed. And the agree there is agreed as used as a participle and not as the verb. So that's the only time that you would see it with the verb to be. So, okay, so yeah, let's see if we've got some other phrases. Let me just reveal the other phrases that we have. So we've seen the first one. The second one, I said this earlier, actually, Jane. Can you read the second phrase for me?
Let's just move on, shall we? Yes, I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yes,
And the third one is even better.
Oh yeah, let's drop it. That's what I say to my children all the time. Let's drop it.
In terms of being polite or being less polite, which one wouldn't you use with your boss at work?
Oh, let's drop it. Sorry.
Yeah.
You could never say
Drop
that.
it. Yeah. Yeah, that's not a phrase to be used if you're with in the office and trying to, but you can use it with friends. Use it with children or with your boyfriend. If your boyfriend's driving you insane, just let's drop it. But with your boss at work, don't use it.
Exactly. Well done. Well said. I think I use it every day, though. Let's drop it with my children.
Okay. For disagreeing, this is interesting because we did say I disagree, I don't agree, but these ones are a bit different. Jane, can you read the phrases for me?
I can see your point, but my understanding is that, number two, that's not always true.
Okay. So a lot of the time, when we disagree, you can just say, I don't agree. But it's quite an abrupt kind of saying, no, you're wrong. So if Jane says, for example, I think that Matisse is the best painter in the world. And I say, I disagree. It's a very kind of straight, no, that's wrong. So in English, because we're generally a little bit more polite than maybe some of the other cultures that we have, and our language is used to maybe make it a little bit more polite when we actually say some.
Yeah, I mean, once again,
I can see your point, but
yeah, exactly. I think it always depends on who you're talking to. I mean, if you're in a situation where you need to be diplomatic, then you're going to find ways. You can always agree to disagree. You could say, "Wow, interesting," but which is a way also to disagree.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good point, but I mean, there's a lot of ways that you can disagree without offending the person that is in front of you. And there's also very abrupt ways that we use with people like my children or my partner or or my dog. But
your dog
you
doesn't
could be
speak
like,
English. They say that doesn't speak English.
Yes, she does. She's bilingual. I'm sorry. Anyway.
So it's true actually. I think a lot of the time when we hear students, you're in a situation when you're asked to talk about something, I hear students will automatically say, I disagree, I don't agree, rather than saying, that's a good point, but, or I see your point, but, or interesting, but. And
Yeah.
so next time you're in a lesson and you have to discuss things and you have to talk about things with other people, try and remember that you can use different language. So the I disagree, I don't agree, we got at level 5, level 6, level 7. When you're level 10 to 13, you need to be a little bit more sophisticated in your language. You need to start thinking about being a little bit more English or a little bit more American when you actually speak. So try and get away from the I don't agree, I disagree, because that's the simple stuff. What you need to do is take it up a level, and you need to start being a little bit more creative. I don't agree is 100% correct, and we understand. But if you were trying to be a little bit more British about things, then you would certainly be a little bit more or less abrupt with your statements. So,
Absolutely.
Okay, let's move on to the next part. We have some more phrases. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I like it, Elisa. Elisa, fantastic. We aren't on the same page. I love it.
Yeah, that's nice. Elisa. Yeah, very good. Very good.
Yes, it is correct to say, I'm sorry, we're not on the same page. But, yes, it's fantastic. Well done, Elisa.
Yeah, very good. Okay, so the next part. Can you read?
Sure. Debate language. Phrases for interrupting.
We can just talk, so I can be talking and Jane can just start talking.
I have to say something because Lavinia just said something else. Or on the same wavelength. Yes, girl, you go. That's fantastic.
Except the spelling.
On the same. Yes, spelling.
Length.
Yeah. GTA. Yeah. But nice, Lavinia. Pulling out all the stops. Yeah. Nicely done.
Yeah. Very good. And what's your try?
I'm sorry, Sarah. Can you ask me again, please?
I said, what did you say? So you interrupted me just now because you wanted to say what Lavinia had said.
Oh, yeah, I did.
What did you say? What did you say?
I don't know. I don't remember. What did I say, Sarah?
You said, I just have to say something. You said, wait a minute, I just have to say something. So that was quite
fabulous.
Look at some other phrases that you could use. But, and there's different things that do with interruptions. Okay, can you read for me the different phrases, Jane?
Sure. Phrases for interrupting. 1, can I add my 2 cents? 2, before you go on, I'd like to say something. After accidentally interrupting someone. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. You were saying? After being interrupted, no? Can I finish, please? You didn't let me finish.
That's what I can say to you, Jane. To interrupt me and say, you shut up, which is not the polite way of doing
things. You can't use that.
No, exactly. Yeah. Shut up is something you probably use to your children, I would imagine, Jane. But yeah, shut up is the rude form of when you say things.
I really think I'll be honest with you. I find it to be so vulgar. And yeah, I mean, I might have used it, but I find it really offensive. It just is. You know, if to say to somebody, shut up, you have to be really annoyed. Because for me, it's not such a nice thing to say to somebody.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with you. I'd agree with you on that. Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
we joke around. When we joke around, it's one thing, right? Because the two of us are having a discussion, and you're like, "Shut up!" It's a joke, right? It's a joke. But if we're in a real argument, you and I turn to you and I say, "Shut up!" not so nice.
Yeah,
Not
definitely.
such a nice thing to say. So yeah, this is a really, and sometimes I think Italians translate it from stai zitto. And even that, but I don't think it's quite got the same strength as shut up in English.
Yeah, I would never say it. Not in a formal situation. I don't. You have to be very annoyed to say it, like you say. It's something that we wouldn't use. We would, rather than saying "shut up," we would use maybe "quiet." It's probably the most that I would say for the stai zitto, if you like, in Italian. I would say, "Oh, be quiet," but I would "shut up." For me is really rude. So certainly not to interrupt. You wouldn't use it to interrupt.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Elisa and Lavinia, can you think of any other phrases to do with interrupting? Is there anything else that you can think of that you could use for interrupting somebody, or if you accidentally interrupt, is there anything that you would say? Interesting. I say American one. Do you know what we say in English?
No, I don't. Pennies.
Can I
add my?
Yeah, can I add? We would actually use an old word, which is tuppence. Can I add my tuppence to this?
No,
which is actually
I've never heard of that. Can I add my tuppence?
Never
Never heard of that.
2 pence. Yeah, sorry, I spelled that wrong. Tuppence. It's
2 pence. 2 pence.
Oh, Lavinia,
Yeah.
Lavinia's just said, can I jump in for a moment? Yeah. Can I jump in here? Can I jump in here? Can I jump in here for a moment? Yeah. And also we have Elisa.
I like it.
Can I answer? Can I answer? I would probably guess. Can I answer is more maybe just giving you a chance to speak, and maybe say, can I answer? But a situation, just I would say, could I say something?
It's
I would say.
Yes, I think that's better. See, an answer is an answer to a question. So that may be, can I speak?
Yeah, can I say something?
How about I would like to say something. I would like to say something.
Or can I answer is a little bit more, do you want to hear what I have to say to the question, as opposed to, I'd just like to add something. So can I say something, as opposed to can I answer, please? But yeah, good ones. Okay. And let's move on to the next slide. Okay. Now, this is just one to finish on, and it's interesting. Let's have a look here. Jane, have a look at some statistics.
Oh, okay. Which side are you on? As of 2013, the U.S. has the largest population of immigrants, 45.8 million, followed by the Russian Federation, 11 million, and Germany, 9.8 million. China has the world's lowest population of migrants. In 2013, international migrants comprised only about 3.2% of the world population, compared to 2.9 in 1990. Mexico topped the list in 2013 with 11 million immigrants, followed by China, 3.8 million, the United Kingdom, 3.5 million, India, 3.4 million, Poland, 3.2 million, and Germany, 3 million.
Interesting, isn't it? How the immigrants, depending on the countries that are around, are different. So China, for example, doesn't really have the immigration situation. And then you take the opposite scale, where you have America being such a massive immigration thing. So if we talk about sides, which side are you on? Are you pro-immigration?
Yes, I mean, I am very pro-immigration, but not everybody agrees with me. I'm very far to the left, and think that immigration can be a wonderful thing for a country if it's used in a way to, how do I say this? I don't know. I just think that the United States was made of immigrants. So for now, for you to turn away those people that, in the past, our country was made from immigrants. It kind of doesn't make sense.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's true.
I don't know.
But,
What do you think, Sarah?
well, you know what? Before we continue and have another, Eliza asking you your opinion. Okay, so is immigration and multiculturalism is quite a sensitive subject.
It's true. It's a very sensitive subject.
It is. So I asked you a particularly sensitive. I'm sorry about that, sensitive. But if we think, what are the arguments, or what are the things that people say? We see Eliza is agreeing with you. So we go.
I put a 2 thumbs up. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But for example, if we take it to being a neutral debate, take your personal opinion away from it. Lavinia, what are the reasons why people are anti-immigration, and what are the reasons why people are pro? People have different views. There are people in America and people in England are very pro or very. If we take away our own personal feelings, what are the types of reasons that people give for being anti or being? Now, take your opinion out of it, Jane. I know that you're. I'm also, I have to say, immigration for me is something that, I mean, we live in Italy. We're immigrants. We've moved to Italy, so we can't really be anti-immigration because we both live in a country that isn't our own. But what kind of reasons could people give for immigration being a bad thing?
They steal people's jobs, right, from the Italians. Maybe that the Italian government has to support the immigrants that are not working. Right.
Okay. Yeah. So you've got the money issues. Yeah.
Yeah. Money issues, housing issues. Why should immigrants get public housing if Italians are waiting for public housing? But those are, a lot of those points are valid. They're valid. Some of those points can be valid. It's a very difficult argument.
Before you go on, Jane, I'd just like to say something. Interrupting in a polite way. Okay. I think you're right that there are certainly some validity in the worry of people coming over to get the jobs, but not always. I think the native workforce or the native population don't necessarily want the work. That's certainly true in the UK. So people don't want to necessarily do the work in the UK. Interesting, Lavinia has come up with something. Many people in Italy say that immigrants are going to steal their jobs, but actually I think that most of the time they want the jobs that Italian people don't want to do, which is exactly what I was saying, Lavinia. Yeah, because
totally.
Yeah, you've got builders, electricians, the jobs that in theory don't pay very well. And the people come over from other countries and they do really good work, and and the English people complain.
Well, wait a second. No, wait. But is that in England? Because in Italy, those are very coveted jobs. She's talking about things like picking tomatoes and working the field.
Okay.
This is what we're talking about, and this is absolutely true, Lavinia. We're not talking. Being a plumber in Italy is actually considered a very lucrative job. Okay.
And in the UK, it's considered. Let me meet
no.
Say, add something. Everything. Oh, can you hear me? I lost it.
Yeah, yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, good. All right, so let's kind of go back and wrap up some of the phrases that we use.
So let's have a look here. We had phrases for settling an argument. We had, I think I'm going to have to disagree. Let's just move on. Let's drop it. Okay. Then we had our disagreeing phrases. We had point, it's true. And if we use a verb to agree, so I negative. Jane, what's the negative of I agree?
I disagree or I don't agree.
We've got interrupting phrase as well. And just to add to this, Jane, what you use a lot when you interrupt is you say, I wait a second. So when you interrupt, you use that phrase, which is interesting.
Wait a second.
So, yeah. That's what we said. Yeah. So, but
nice.
As you can say it. So, a lot of nice phrases. Next time you're having a debate with somebody in English, try not to use the I don't agree, but we're saying, okay, and try to vary your answers. Okay. Thank you very much.
Wow, pleasure.
Yeah. And make sure you take some notes of the phrase and join us again soon. And on all the time, every day, from all the hours. So join us and finish with us. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for contributing.
Bye, guys.